Archie Thompson, thank you for joining me.
Yeah, cheers, brother. Thank you. You said steak, I'm there.
Fun fact, you've got the same birthday as my old man.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Okay, how old is he?
He's 1965.
1965. Okay,
So
yeah,
he became a
he's little bit older
teenager.
than me.
He became a teenager. Isn't it 13? The day you were born.
What's that?
So he would have been 13.
13, yeah,
the day you were
definitely.
born.
Yeah. Wow.
Small world.
Well, he's Pele. You know, Pele's born on the 23rd of October.
And you I think I remember you seeing a photo of him saying you referenced yourself as Pele when you were a young kid.
Did I? Was that ego? I don't know.
No, just when you were a kid, you were like, I think the post was something about you being a child and looking up to him.
Well, I think that was the only sort of person we really knew about was like Diego Maradona and Pele. But there was no footage really. Like you had no footage of him. But it was just he was talked about in the football world, and then all of a sudden, like, okay, I'm going to be Pele. And then my dad bought these two books. I think they were like Pele encyclopedias. I can't remember. So just information on his life, just two big books, and then I just fell in love with him. But then over time you kind of see like Diego Maradona, and you're like, wow, he's amazing, bro.
So was that your first look into soccer then?
With Pele?
With Pele, yeah.
Yes, yeah. And then like, so it was definitely Pele. You sort of maybe saw a little bit of footage of him, and then that's kind of someone you gauge yourself off, especially when I was growing up, because we probably didn't have stuff out there like we do now, where you can see every single game, every player, and it's probably good in a way because it's a bit of an overload of how much talent there is out there.
I listened to a conversation the other day with our man Stephen Bartlett and Thierry Henry.
Yes.
In preparation for this conversation. And funnily enough, I saw a post as I was scrolling through your Instagram referencing that conversation. So that was, I think it was a week ago I started listening to that. And then I stumbled upon the post that you made.
Yeah. Can you remember what the post was again?
Yeah, so you posted about his, when you're a soccer player, you can never perform at that same level when you retire. Yeah. And your post or your commentary or caption was... the similarities, something about the similarities.
Yeah.
And how good of a conversation it was. So there was some similarities, I guess, between what he was feeling and perhaps what you were feeling.
Yeah, it's like 100%. And I think a lot of sports people feel that when they compete at a high level and then, for whatever reason, like your age or maybe injuries, that you're not going to be able to compete at that level anymore. And you can start to feel you can feel it. You can feel the way that your body recovers. You're not feeling that sharpness. And then you start to lose a little bit of confidence in the stuff that you used to be able to do so easy. And then then you go and play maybe like I went and played NPL, and it just it didn't have the same a level of competition for myself, that eagerness to want to get out and perform. Like it'd be only I'd have flashes of inspiration to kind of do things, but then it just goes very, very quickly. And I think that was amazing to hear Henri talk like that, because I resonated so much with it, because and it was hard because you're playing with a lot of players that have looked up to you and they've seen you perform at your peak, and then they're almost getting the Timu version of you, where I'm just I want to, but it's not in me to. And I think I tried for so long to be able to capture what I was feeling when I was playing for the Socceroos, when I was playing overseas, when I was playing for Melbourne Victory. It just wasn't happening. And now though, I've found a great bunch of lads on a Saturday morning. They call themselves Padre FC. I'm part of the Padre FC. And if they see this, they're probably going to be buzzing about it, because every little plug that I give them, they seem to like, wow, yeah, it's cool. And I happen to just be running past them playing at Elwood. I live in Elwood, on a football field one morning, and I'm like, man, I'd love to go and have a kick of the ball again. because I don't think I'd sort of played any football for a while. Went over and said, "Hey guys, do you mind if I join in?" First of all, like one of the guys said, I actually just stopped one guy that was running there, and he said, "Oh, look, man, it's just mates." And then I'm like, "Oh, that's cold." And then the ego took a little bit of a puncher. But then I kind of came past it about a month later or so, and I'm like, man, I'm just itching to get out and play. And like the inner kid was like, let's do it. I went over again and saying, boys, do you mind if I join in? And then I think a lot of them sort of seen them like, of course you can, man. And then I'm part of the WhatsApp group. I actually get so much enjoyment from playing there on a Saturday. Then what I probably should have felt when I first went from the elite to NPL, but I just didn't. I think it was just too fresh. But now I think that it's competitive, but not competitive, So that's why I enjoyed that.
You spoke about the inner kid before. Stephen Bartlett started that conversation with Thierry. I'm not even sure if that's how you pronounce it, but he basically, his belief was that to understand a man, you would need to understand his earliest context. So with that in mind, what does your earliest context tell me about the man that you are today?
Oh, gosh. Well, that's a good question, but I think, I was pretty shy kid, actually. I think I was introverted. I was, I was different too. Like I was different. And I think like the longer you kind of go on with life and the understanding about a lot of things and a lot of things that you work on or you're exposed to or a lot of healings along the path, I'm definitely in a better place. But I look at that younger person, and I've done inner child work too. There was a class or a program I did with Dean Benson. It was called Drugs to Divinity, and it was a lot about trauma and inner child work and all that sort of stuff, and real eye opener about like being a kid and what you capture and what you take on from your family and generational stuff. So when I answer that question, it's like I've had to kind of build on what I kind of started with as a kid, and I'm happy of where I am now, and I continue to kind of grow and learn. And but it's definitely a journey.
What did you learn most about yourself by doing that work?
I think a lot of behaviors that I kind of took on from being a kid to large periods of my, teenage, early 20s, even sort of 30s, probably even to early 40s, to be honest. I did. I mean, I think when I was younger and a lot of things that I did to try to feel part of like, the groups, drinking was something that made me feel connected. So I think that was something that I had a really bad relationship with throughout my, without seeing it. Like, I think because there was a lot of fun times, but then there was a lot of bad times that have hurt people, hurt my past relationships, time with my kids because I didn't see the behaviors of it. And then I'm now like probably 3.5 years sober without having anything, and I feel amazing. And then you can actually start to really work on the things that you're trying to maybe mask or try to connect with. I connect on a different level now when I start maybe conversations or relationships or friendships. I'm definitely a lot better.
What were some of those behavior traits that you said you didn't notice until you were in your early 40s?
Well, I think maybe just like the insecurities of things, like, jealousy, feeling like I'm not good enough, not smart. Those sort of things were, big in my life. And I think I guess I just try to escape. And when when you do those sort of things, it makes it easy to forget those, and then you're something else. And so I think those were some of the traits, and I'm so glad that I wish I had a stopped like years and years ago, like and started this path that I had done, what I'm doing in the last sort of 3.5 years. I mean, if I had started that a lot longer, I mean, I don't even know where I'd be right now. But I think sometimes you've got to go through all that shit to be able to be where you are.
It's funny because you seem to embrace those traits now.
Yeah.
Those traits that you...
I do, because I think like I'm happy being in my skin. Like I think for a long period of time I was just wanting to be someone else or mimic someone because maybe they're doing well at something. I think of my football journey in media, like how I first started it, and then I was trying to be something else because it sounded good when it was coming from someone else. But I think I've just embraced the fact that I'm not going to say things right. I'm not going to understand a lot of things. Maybe I don't think before I say things as well, which gets me in trouble. But hey, it's who I am, and sometimes I apologize for that because I'm not sure if I can say this, but I was at and I was with my partner, and she loves dogs. So there was this guy that had walked a dog that was very similar to what she had, and she loved. And then he was up against the wall with some other dude next to him. And this was at the Marcus. I didn't know any of these guys. And then she went over, can I pat the dog? And the owner's like, yeah, of course. The dog went straight to me and started like, liking me. And then when she went to pat again, it came to me. And then the owner's like, man, he really likes you. And then I said, well, I probably should wipe the peanut butter off my balls from last night. And, and then my partner was like, did you just say that? And usually she's like, and then the two guys that could have were listening are like, oh, okay, this is awkward but funny. Like they wanted to laugh. Yeah, so these are the sort of things that I kind of like, I embrace it. I'm just going to say things that I think are just funny and that'll make people maybe laugh. Or sometimes it'll make it awkward. But hey, if it's just me.
I remember you did that one with the Pope. Someone said something and you're like, thanks, Pope.
Yeah, but this is, So and it was a strange question, to be honest. And I think on YouTube, the headline, and even my mates still like have a laugh about it, like in the football world. I think it was Socceroo on crack. So and the question was like, because it was a game in Belgium, when I think I handballed it for a penalty, and it was like a cup match, and then the Pope had died, like when I handballed around that sort of minute mark at the time that he passed, and he asked the question like, "Did you know that the Pope died when you handballed?" And I turned to the camera and I just went, "Thanks, Pope," and immediately you could see me go, "Oh." I probably should.
You said it straight away.
Yeah, I probably shouldn't have said that. I mean, he does that, and I like really. I'm harmless in some of the things that I say that maybe are not the right things.
You spoke about in another conversation that you would wag school.
Yes.
So was that? Well, I don't know. That the way you just described it before is just there's almost an uncertainty about yourself at that age. I'm not sure if that's accurate.
Yeah. Oh, I think wagging school.
Is that different?
Look, I think there was a lot of things that they're all sort of similar in the way that your life sort of pans out. I think school was. I was never. And this is where that belief of mine was that I was not smart enough, and you take it into your into adulthood. Whenever there's something new or something uncomfortable, we all know that. It's like, I don't think I'm smart enough because of me being in school and maybe not understanding or just not being focused or just the fact that I just was not interested. So the thing was that I would always go down and wag school. And then, I used to hang out with a couple of mates of mine. We were rat bags. Like, I remember we always used to wag and we'd go and try to rustle up $3.50 and go buy a bottle of spumante. or passion pop, free buck chucker, I think they used to call it, and just go down the river and drink. Like I think we did that a lot, but again, that just folds into the fact that there was that relationship with drinking again, you know, and just because I just wasn't interested in a lot of those things, and I think that was the kind of one of my core beliefs that I still have sometimes. I think we all have, is that, like, you know, am I smart enough or good enough? And the fact is that you don't know unless you just do it.
Is there a story or a memory that stands out that makes you or takes you back to that feeling of not being smart enough?
No, I don't know what it was. I don't know.
Just an accumulation.
Yeah, just accumulation of things. Okay. I think, there is an accumulation. And I didn't like there was moments in school too that I've talked about previously, about like being the only dark, sort of felt like the only dark kid in school, and then one class in grade 2 where,
on a Tuesday.
Yeah, on a Tuesday that I hated it. And I just remembered feeling so uncomfortable as soon as I knew it was going to be Tuesday, and around that, like 1 o'clock, I could even tell you 1:30, this book's coming out, and you know, there was a half naked Aboriginal guy. Some kids made some fun, and I reckon they only made fun of me 1 or 2 times with that book, but it just scarred me. And I think I just didn't have a really good feeling in school at all, like relationship wise, to learning, or even the things that I was learning. I just
Did your parents know that you were wagging and doing all that sort of stuff?
No. Yeah, I think we kind of sobered up by the time it was time to go home.
So you were drinking during school?
Yeah, pretty much. We would wag and go, and yeah. And this was when I was probably 13, 14 years old. Okay. Yeah, and that was it wasn't like a every day sort of thing, but it was like we did it at least once, twice a week.
Yeah, okay.
For a long time.
It sounded like, from the quote that I'm about to read out, it sounded like that perhaps started a downfall, let's just say, because you said I remember you saying in another conversation that you went to court.
Yes.
As a young kid. And whilst fronting court as a young boy, Archie saw his mum in tears and promised to change his ways.
Yeah. No, that's
How old were you when that happened?
I was at school. I think I was probably 15 or 16. Okay. And I'm so hopeless with time. It's even my memories. There's a lot of things that I just disconnected with, I think. And you just, my brothers and sisters just remember everything. I don't remember much at all. I don't know if it's...
Why do you think that is?
I don't know. I think... who is it? Gabor Mate talks a lot about like disconnecting because of just feeling uncomfortable. I think along the lines of that, and you know, it's almost like self-nurturing, because I don't think I come from a big family, and you know, my dad had a pretty tough upbringing. My mum had a tough upbringing, and they did the best they can with the tools that they had. And I mean, my mum was great, but you know, you just don't remember the nurturing or the love that you needed in certain moments in anything. And there was something that happened when I was young as well. And look, I jump all over the place. I'm sorry, these memories come back, but a good friend of mine, we used to wag, like I said, and we built this little shed in this little paddock. I grew up in the country, and we built it like that you couldn't see it. Like you couldn't see an entrance to it. But we knew where it was, and we used to wag there all the time. We'd go and have a drink or smoke or whatever. And we'd also, at the time, there was this, I don't know if you heard of butane gas. So butane gas was lighter fluid. So we used to do that all the time. And then I was with a friend of mine and another mate, and one of them had left, have to go home, and I was left with another guy. His name was Mark Sikora, and we were all really close, good mates. And you know, we had a big session on smoking butane. I mean, not smoking; it's like inhaling it, and the sensation is that like you just you don't even know where you are, like, to be honest. And I'd left him. I was I said, "Oh, look, mate, I've got to go now. It's and he's like, "Okay, I'm going to stay," because he had some stuff on. And then I'm up at home in the shower, and then there was a knock on the door, and the police had come in, and my dad's like, "Come out here. There's the police are here." And then they told me that he'd passed away. Like, my mate went back and found him dead. I think from maybe too much or doing and I just remembered going, oh my gosh, like I was just devastated. Like, and this is when I was probably I can't remember the ages. It was maybe 14, 15, 16, somewhere in that. And I remembered my dad, like, and when I look back on it, I think I can't blame my dad for his reaction, because his reaction was that he was scared and he didn't know how to sort of say, man, that could have been you. Instead, he just sort of grabbed me and started like throwing me around and got really angry. And I just lost my best mate. And I think my sister had to say, like, Dad, you need to settle down. Like, and I sort of blacked that out. I don't remember too much about it, but my sister sort of said later on, goes, yeah, I remember that. It was like he went berserk. I think the fact that he was just scared that could have been me, but his upbringing didn't know how to nurture that, and immediately he went to that. And I think that kind of really scared me, because in that moment, all you needed, I think, from your parent was that, man, you okay? You feeling like that could have been you. Instead, it was something completely different. And those little things, I think, affect the way that you show up in certain relationships, or how to show love or empathy in certain things. And I think like my dad and my mum are so giving, and especially my mum, with the traumatic upbringing she's had as well. And sometimes I do, like, even if my daughter or my son might come to me, especially my daughter, upset, it takes me a moment to kind of, it probably doesn't split second, because it's your kid, to kind of go, oh, I've got to be empathetic. I've got to show love, because I probably wasn't shown as like how I needed it. And I try to do the same with my kids, and you try to break the lineages of
the cycle.
The cycles. Yeah. That's it, the cycles. And I think kids that were doing it, and I had a beautiful moment with my dad just recently too. Like, and I've been wanting that. And I think with the inner child work, it almost energetically works like that, because you want these sort of relationships. I want to be kind of on a deeper level with my dad. Just, it's so funny how you want to make your parents proud more than anything. And all I wanted from my dad was like, I love you, or something like that, or a bit of vulnerability. And he showed a bit of vulnerability the other day, talking about my mum, and how my mum saw a family that had nothing, but went out and bought something as like groceries, and he remembered that. And when he was telling me that, he started getting choked up and emotional about it. And I'd see that from my dad. So that really took me back, and I went back home and I was happy about it, because I was like, oh, like, I don't know, later in life, things start to break down a little bit in terms of like your whole walls up, and instead of just showing how vulnerable things make you feel. And that was a really beautiful moment, because my dad is like, I'll send little things like, oh, I love you, Dad. And I'll get a text back, cheers. You know what I mean? So it's like, I try to always say with my kids, like, I'm proud of you. I love you guys. Because I think that's so important to hear as a parent, and as someone to be receiving that. It's important. That's
something I noticed. You have been documenting your daughter's singing journey.
Yeah.
From such a young age.
Yeah.
Like, I remember I think one of the first, you were on a balcony or something.
Yes.
And she was singing. But that was sort of that was probably the midpoint, but there was some really early ones as well, where she was playing the ukulele and singing Georgia by Vance Joy, I think.
Yes, yeah. Beautiful stuff. I think something about music and people singing from their soul just resonates with another person's soul. But I just have a beautiful connection with my kids and, with my daughter too. Like something about dad and daughter relationships, always joke with my son. I'm like, yeah, I love your sister more than I love you. But, I love them equally. But I just think when I had my daughter in Belgium and there was no family around, it was just me and my ex-wife. And so I was just like,
it's a good birthday present, isn't it?
Well, yeah, man. She was like, my
Day
ex,
after you.
yeah, my ex started labor on my birthday. And I was so hoping that would be
same birthday.
Yeah. But my both my kids are just incredible. My daughter's when she started her music journey, and this is something that I always sort of thought, like when I hear maybe what is it, like one of those music shows when a kid starts singing
The Voice,
The Voice, like a song that's way past their years, and they're singing it, and then they're like, they're not really feeling that. There's something inside that they are, because I think of my girl, and without even knowing, because first of all, I was just really listening to the music without really listening to the words. And then once I started to kind of listen to the words of what she was writing and putting out, and she might think differently, but this is my perception on it. But it was almost like all that pain that she and my son, but both of them, but the way that my daughter expressed it was through her music of the breakup with my ex and the turmoil of all that and what they took on. But she was writing that through her music, and I could see it, like, and that's how, and she was like 12, 13, 14. That's when I knew that, like, no, they're feeling something at that age, and in terms of knowing or feeling what their music is, and my daughter just with her music is incredible. The way that she writes, she writes with what she feels, and I think that's incredible.
You've referenced shame a few times when you talk about that. Is that still something that you?
Well, I don't know if you can feel that when I speak.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I can speak. I feel, still, there's a lot of shameful things that I've done in the past, in my past relationships, with my ex-wife too, like things that I wish I could go back and change. And and it's hard because it's like, your kids were affected by it. And it still brings up some emotion about it, because I think when you're a parent and you want to be able to shelter your kids from everything, and even the bad things that you do, or your behaviors. And I fell well short of that so many times. And even with the way that, I fought with my partners in front of people or kids, it's like, they're exposed to this. Even though they feel it anyway, but it's just they feel the energy. But to be when you're doing it in front, I think is hard, because the kids take it on. You take on those sort of things.
Even if it's sometimes it's not even the words that are said as well.
No, it's
just the energy.
Yeah. It's really, really sad, and for them, and I hold so much shame about that. I did hold so much shame, I should say, because I don't like it. It doesn't have a hold on me. I can flick back into it, and I can get emotional about it, but it doesn't have the power over me anymore. That because I'm trying to be a better person. I feel like I am being a better person with the way that I turn up and show up. I think that's the important thing about. I think when my relationship now with my partner is that it's the way I show up now, and I've been running a lot of my life, running from responsibilities, running from taking a responsibility. I don't run anymore. I try not to run. Even if I do run, it's only for a split second, and I like, okay, Arch, come on, bro.
You got to
get back in, face what you've done, and try and do the right thing. And I think a funny thing that a really good thing that I heard was that we're not responsible for our first thought. We're responsible for our second. So I think we can have a shit thought the first time, and it might just pop in our head, but it's how we respond to that thought, how we react to it. And, I think the second one is when we have a bit more calmness about things and not reactive, I think we make a better judgment and choice. Well, I feel like I do. Don't get it right all the time.
Of course. That's part of life. On the topic of direction and all that sort of stuff, it sounded like the path that your life could have gone on if you didn't have, let's just say, that external purpose in soccer could have been a lot different.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, there was so many pivotal moments in my life when I look at it, like of where my life could have gone. I mean, the people that I was hanging out with, and the things that they were doing, and I was close to, and for whatever universal or ancestral guidance kind of pulled me away from, they went on to do things that I think I don't know where their life went, but then mine kind of went this way, and it hasn't been smooth sailing as a professional sports person either. Like, I mean, I've chopped and changed from the path of and I also too, like, I hold a lot of shame in being a professional athlete and being a role model and saying to a kid or saying to kids, don't do that, kids. And I'm doing it. Like, I mean, it's, and I think I felt a lot of that from starting to, like, doing the work, and then you're just feeling like an imposter, like I think I felt like an imposter most of the time because of I wasn't doing what I was preaching a lot of the time. And, I was just lucky that I had a club like in Melbourne Victory that believed in me, and kind of was, maybe they also too with my ability that they were able to kind of not look at a lot of things that I was doing. And then, but those sort of things catch up on you over time. And I think that's big time reason why I sort of stopped, doing a lot of things, stopped drinking, because I just saw that I couldn't guarantee my behavior anymore.
Did drinking and having fun and all that sort of stuff, was that something that was a commonality in your early parts of the career?
It was all throughout my life, to be honest. Like, I battled a lot of things.
Yeah.
I'm still kind of, do I say or don't say, like, and there'll be a time when I'm like fully confident to be able to say the things that where I was and what I did, and like throughout my whole career, and but just not right, like just not feeling that's the right time yet.
Of course, 100%. When did you realize that you could make something of soccer?
Oh gosh, I always think that I don't know if I knew that I had the ability. I just think that people seen something, and that I kind of knew that I had something because other people said I had something, And then also too, it was a connection with my dad. I've talked about too. Like, it's like he wanted to be a footballer growing up, but didn't have the means. It was not very rich, big family. So he wanted us to have the things that he couldn't have. And like, it's almost like living your dream through your kids. So I love football, but I think I loved it because he loved it. So, and I just happened to be really good at it. And I think that's why I love football, and I love what it's given me. But I'm not probably someone that is like a diehard like football fan, like, or nut, but I enjoy it and I love it. And I'm happy when people are having success or whatever, or like the Socceroos are doing great and all this sort of stuff. But I'm not like so invested in it. I think because it was just something that was connecting with my family and my dad.
Do you think people misunderstand that about you? Because I'm assuming that whole identity piece is that you are a soccer player. Yeah. You love it. You know? And when people come up to you on the street, I assume and that's all they talk about.
Yeah, and it is. And that's okay, because like, I mean, I've had so many great memories, like, too. It's like, and it's given me a lot, and it's given a lot of people a lot of joy. So when I see them happy, about talking about that and what it's given them, it makes me happy. But it can get a bit like, oh, okay, we're talking football again. But that's okay. Like I don't mind talking about it. But it's not who I am. I'm not the footballer. I mean, it's like oh, people, oh, you're that soccer player. I'm like, yeah, okay, yeah, if that's how. But it's not who I am.
For someone listening to this that sees you as a football player, but doesn't know that there's obviously there's more. But like what I'm trying to say is, what would you say to that person that just views you as a football player? What do they need to know about you?
Yeah, like there's more to me than just like sport and football and like. But then in saying that too, I like having conversations with people. Like I love talking about like whatever their story is. I like to kind of gauge too. I mean, I think I get that from my mum actually. It's that like it can be pretty painful for my kids or whatever because I like to I'll just stop and have a conversation with anyone sometimes. I mean, if it has to be football, it's football. Like sometimes it's not, and people don't know me as a footballer either. Sometimes too, like. I might have been. I was introduced to a long time ago. My good golfing mates back in the day, and they knew nothing about me as a footballer. They got to know me before that. And they saw that. So
that I see that as a good thing.
Yeah, no, that's
and I see that as a good thing.
Then you know it's pure, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Because I suspect someone like, because I've been seeing a lot of stuff about Justin Bieber recently, who. You can't leave the house without anyone knowing him.
Yeah.
You know? So to have it'd almost be a comfort for him. And I know there's levels of fame and stuff. But I suspect if he met someone that didn't know him for who he was, it'd be a relief.
Yeah.
Because he's leaving the house on the assumption that everyone knows who he is. Yeah. I'm not sure you do that. But
well, the ego kind of I think that everyone knows who I am, and sometimes you get that feeling because people look or stare or they have a third or fourth glimpse. But I'm definitely not at the level of, Bieber. And I'm not at the level a lot of sportsmen here in Australia are, but or globally. But, it is nice to kind of start a conversation or build a friendship on not knowing like kind of what you've done. And I've done that. Like I've met some really amazing people like, and I still like, I really only have a small group of people that I got a lot of good friends and they're great. Like, but there's probably like a handful that I'm very close to.
I've done a heap of homework, like I said, on your Instagram and a commonality or a theme that I saw throughout your career was perhaps not how it made you feel, but the impact that it had on others. Would you say that is accurate?
Yeah, no, 100%.
And you would post letters from fans and all that sort of stuff, and you were like, "This is why I do football."
Yeah. Well, those are the things, right? I love those, and if you look at my early posts, and I've deleted a lot of them actually because there was a lot of posts on there that I was looking for validation for, or comments or stuff like that, and even when I watch old videos that pop up on your, there might be memories on Facebook of a video like, oh my God, did I talk like that? What was I looking for? Like I look at those ones now and I think about what validation was I looking for? And I think, in sometimes too, like you want to bring joy, but sometimes you get lost in that because then if that person doesn't like you, how can I make you like me? What? And then you lose yourself to try to make that person like you. And I think, I've done that, but in saying that, I'm pretty good. I really just try to see the best in everyone, man. Like that's I mean, not everyone's going to float your boat. I certainly probably don't float a lot of people's boats, but it's all good.
Where do you think the need for validation came from?
I don't know. I think it's just when you get into like. It might have started when I was younger. I don't know. It's like you just that validation of like when you do something well, and I don't think that you hear it very often. I don't know if I heard it very often as a kid. I don't think I did, but it was always like you got to do this more, you got to do that more. It's not like, oh, good job, And I think once you hear it, it's like, oh, that's a nice feeling. And then you want more of that feeling, and then that's, I guess, where the validation sort of comes in, and then you get thrown into like the sporting world, and then all it is, it seems to be validation, and they're like, yeah, this is awesome, I love this feeling. And then it gets a bit clouded, and you start to search for it even more, and but it's really only a little spark of what makes you feel really good, and yeah. So it's nice. I really, I'm very grateful and appreciative of, like, I actually now I am more so appreciated and grateful, because I take it differently now from the validations of maybe what I did in the past. Like, it means a little bit more, because I think of what it felt for the other person.
I think you said, or one of your quotes that you live by, quote unquote, if there's no enemy within, then the enemy outside can do no harm. That's a tattoo, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's like, I just saw it. I was like, man, it just really hit something inside. Like, when you, it's even like the algorithms of Instagram, right? Things that were just like bang, bang.
You've done a lot of quotes like that.
Yeah, because you get into that loop of like, oh, okay. And maybe that's things that you need to be hearing at that time too. And I think what I was dealing with was a lot of inner chat that was what I probably calling the devil, you know. And I think, and even also to the stuff outside about like what things are getting said about you or thought about you, and then you just quiet that stuff.
I was just about to say that though. When you're like, because I feel like I'm like that as well.
Yeah.
So you seek external validation for doing something, but you sort of turn it over in your head so that the highs are really high.
Yeah.
Because when you're feeling really good, you're like, it's like me with this podcast. Like, I just love doing it. And then sometimes when the guest leaves, you're like, oh, like it's the same. Nothing changed, but it's almost like, the highs are really high, like I said, and the lows can be low. And when you go through perhaps a period of negativity and you're worrying about what people think and all that sort of stuff, that's when you really
and I think that's the reason when I heard that was like, bang, that's what I'm feeling. I feel that, and I think I celebrate things a little bit differently now. Like I think back in the day, it was all about the, like, and trying to hold on to that, And I think just with the work that I've probably done recently, or the journey I'm on now, is that like I get excited and I'm happy, but I just come back very quickly to like, okay, that was beautiful, and I'm very grateful for that. And I'll say my gratitude to it, but then I'll just come back to like, okay, let's life again. I mean, it's good to get those little, and even with the negative stuff. I mean, I used to sit in it so much. It's like I still probably do at times, but I'm so quick to get out of it and just kind of thing, because it's like this, right? You just got to keep going like that. Just keep on that level kind of balance.
What are some of the negatives that are in your life today? And I'm assuming they pale in comparison to what they once were.
Man.
Or is it just small things?
Bro, like there's probably not many negatives. Probably the only negatives I feel is that like I feel my body not, it's the negatives is that I'm starting to see that it's harder to keep weight off. It's like, I work hard, but it's not, those sort of things, like and being able to be a bit more active and not feel the pain of things. Those are probably the only real negatives that I think of at the moment. I'm really happy and content where I'm at the moment. Like I have a good, really, really good balanced life in terms of work. Am I making squillions of dollars? No. Am I making below that? Probably. But I'm happy. I'm content. I have everything that I want or I need. Like I like the media stuff is fantastic. The group of the people I work with, my colleagues, like everything is just beautiful. I have a beautiful partner that I can I can stuff up and say things that are stupid, but she'll laugh or she'll just pull me back, and I'm okay with that. And like my kids are happy. My daughter's in a beautiful relationship. My son's in a beautiful relationship. What else? So like I got good friends. My family's safe and happy and healthy. Bro, I'm good. Like
when you were my age, 29, I suspect there was an element of like, I'm invincible.
Yes. Yeah, I think I had that more. Like I had, and again, it's probably being in the sporting world and in that industry where you kind of are put like
pedestal.
Yeah, my mum would say pedestal. She loves saying putting me on a pedestal. Like so it's it's easy to come. What was the question again?
I said, it's almost as if you said the main negative is
yeah.
So you never would have thought you'd be saying something like that.
Yeah.
Like the fact that your body's,
like at 29.
Yeah.
No, definitely would. I wouldn't have thought that. I mean, I would have thought I was invincible on every level, but probably not in the way that I would think now about things that I was back then.
Do you ponder on life, life getting older, all that sort of stuff?
Yes, man.
Really?
Very much. Like it's so funny that you asked that question because I've been thinking about my parents a lot lately, and my poor mum had a fall on the rocks in Elwood. Like I forget she's almost 70 years old, and she's a little dynamite. And the fact is that she fell almost between rocks, but she said like, Archie, I was like, you can't do this anymore. And the fact she said like, no, I want to do this. Like I love this. Like, it makes me happy and it's fun. But when I saw her fall, it's like, when they get older and the way that they fall, that like their mind is almost like 2 steps ahead of their body. And then and when they fall, it's so heavy. And I saw her fall down into the little cracks, and I got scared. Like, cause I was already thinking about like, how can I do life without like my mum? How can I do life without my dad? Like,
is that hard to think about?
Yeah, I think it's so hard. I used to think too, when you got older, when I was younger, when parents got older, or when I was older, you deal with things like that a lot easier. I don't think you do. I think because your relationship changes with your parents. They're more open, you're more open. Like it's it would be sad. Like it'd be really, really sad. And I've had like friends that have lost their parents, and I've had some pretty heavy losses like in my life. Like my sister lost her husband.
Is that Bazza?
Yeah, Baz. Yeah. That really tore us apart. Like that was a real tough.
I found that, and
our man Baz.
And I think what you said about him, I'm not sure what it actually said, but it was a post. It's very hard in this world to find people to look up to and admire as a person as I did to you, Bazza.
Yeah.
My brother, you will be sorely missed, and a piece of our hearts have died when you were taken from us. My sister said there wouldn't be anyone who loved him more than the Thompsons. And my brother replied, there will be no one who loved the Thompsons as much as he did, which was so true. I love you, man.
Yeah. Beautiful, man. He was like, high school. We went to high school together. We did a lot of things together. Yeah, we played football together.
Yeah.
It was really sad, like really, really sad. I think even to this day, like, I mean, it's almost 10 years ago now. But like, it's still relevant because, I mean, I can remember very clearly is that they were trying IVF. My, brother-in-law Baz and my sister trying IVF. They tried a few times. And I remember it was a game in Newcastle. They came out. They used to travel all the time. They were mad. Like they loved their football. He loves his football too. Like, yeah, obsessed. I think he was actually in Spain when watched was Manchester United and Bayern Munich, that game where they came back. He was there. And nuts, loves it. Anyway, they were trying IVF, and I remember after the game we played Saturday and Sunday, we're having breakfast in Newcastle, and my sister sort of ducked away, and he sort of said, "Oh man, like this is a tense one, like because emotionally it really hits a women, like they're trying IVF, and when they've already going through a lot of the emotions as it is about if I'm going to have a kid or I'm not going to have a kid." And then, so that was, I can remember that conversation very clearly, but like they just loved each other. He loved her very much and loved us. And 3 days later, he wasn't feeling well at football training. And like I said, I've got to go home to his team. It was in Sydney, and then literally just drove out, turned up one of the streets and turned his car off, tried to hop out of and had a heart attack, just died straight there. And then even his teammates was like later on seen there was an ambulance there, but I didn't know it was him. And they were driving out. And that was a massive loss. And I remember hearing the news early morning, and I was traveling to Wellington that day to play a game. And I was like, man.
Did you still fly there?
Yeah, I was like, I can't go. Yeah. Like I need to be with my sister. And then my sister's like, no, Arch, you need to go and you need to score, just score a goal or something to remember. I'll just go to the game. And I think I might have said, I'm going to score a goal for him. And then the first minute of the game, I scored a goal. And where they were with all his friends and family, just jumped. Like there was just, they were watching the game. Within a minute that happened, and the elation and the emotion of everything, everyone in that, because knowing what it meant to them. For that goal, and it was meant for Baz. It was, and after that, they didn't care about the game. Like it was the first, I didn't care about the game. I did what I wanted to do, and then 3 days, I think it was a couple of weeks later, my sister's pregnant, and they have a beautiful girl named Minnie. Now she's 10, so we're always going to be reminded of him, and he's beautiful.
Thanks for sharing that, man.
Yeah.
You've referenced a few times as well the when you weren't yourself and all that sort of stuff. And I think in May 2018 you wrote, "The journey over the last 3 years has tested me beyond anything I could have imagined. I just want to give a huge shout out to the people who have guided me and seen so much of me more than a footballer. I'm so truly blessed." That whole period.
Yeah. I think it was because I was going through a breakup with my family. Football was finishing. I was uncertain about what I was going to do. My kids had gone overseas with their mum, which was okay because I think, as a parent, we were just trying to find ways of healing each other. And that was such a hard breakup on everyone. And I think, and it was just really, just a hard period in life, it's just, and dark one. And, when you're in the dark ones, it's hard to kind of think back about what those things are. But there was people that, saw something different in me, or they saw the light, I had a really good friend of mine, like Nathan Coe, who was an ex-goalkeeper. And this is when I was really isolating. Like I was just isolating so much. And then he's like, Archie, come out, man. Come out with us. Come out with me. And I was like, and I can remember very clearly, and it was probably one of the first seeds to kind of drop that I was like, man, Archie, you got to get your act together, because once you start isolating.
What were you isolating from, do you think?
Just with everything that was going on. Like I think I just wasn't dealing with things.
Was this in the last year of football?
It was like a good period. Like it was a really good period of that. Even kids living up in the Gold Coast after they went overseas. It was just like a combination of everything. And then my he sort of said to me, because we went out, and then I'm like, man, I'm gotta go. Like I'm just like got to go. And then as we got, he sort of grabbed me, and goes, Arch, man, what are you doing? What are you doing, man? We love you. We know, like basically kind of saying we love you. You're an amazing guy. You just, we're like trying to reach out to you, man. You're not there.
Mm.
And I remember taking that away. He probably won't remember it, but it really struck something. Look, it dropped the seed, but I think it took me a little bit longer. But I remember really thinking about that, and it impacted me. And that's when you just start to want to make a move, and then people start to come into your life that are there to help you go through whatever you need to go through.
You referenced in another conversation that it got like really, really dark.
Ooh. Yeah, I mean, there was lots. Like I think the one that what I talked about, like that was probably the last year of my football career. Was like, and the things that I was doing was like, man, I was just kind of, I felt dead. Really, I just felt dead inside. And then, when you're feeling like that, then there's always these thoughts of like, I got to end this. This is I'm no good to me. I'm no good to anyone. And it's like that's the if it's got to be, it's got to be. I'm ready to do it. If I have to. And it's like, but I don't know how far gone I was to be able to do something like that. I think you got to be really in some pretty. I've been in dark, but I think there's got to be more layers of dark to kind of go like that, So I've been that was that period there, and but you have those sort of fleeting moments. It was weird, like when I think about it, like what if I just jump in front? I could be okay, but then I'm like this. Oh, I wonder if I did that. I don't. And I was thinking, is that what people think? Do people think like I'm thinking? Like, oh, maybe if I just jump there, even though my day was good, like I don't know what was going on. I don't have any of those thoughts anymore.
Why? Well, not why didn't you, but what made you tip over the edge?
What made me tip over?
What made you? Well, you said there would have had to been layers. What stopped you getting there?
I just think that like the people I was with, I think there was a lot of. I think the path that I was going, it was still like there was still just moments of like darkness, but it was getting better because the relationship I was in at that time, I'd never experienced that sort of love to someone to sort of see me besides the footballer, and I think that's kind of they saw something in me, and then I wanted to be better, and I think that helped me to kind of keep trying to be better. And I think that's kind of what pulled me out of that sort of dark place,
That whole feeling better thing, I'm assuming that's something that was something that was, I guess, consistent throughout the career. Would that be true?
Yeah. Like just with behaviors and just wanting to be like the person that I know that I am deep down is that like to be someone that's that you can rely on, that can turn up and just be there for someone else, And I think I was probably selfish in a lot of my life, and I don't know if it's being a sports person. I'm not going to say that it's completely that, but you have got to be a bit selfish in the pursuit of being someone or being like an athlete, and I think it kind of put your blinkers on a little bit about, and then it's all about you. This is you. And I think I became a little less selfish and a bit more selfless. And I think that's kind of where it started to get better.
Seem like you're a deep thinker.
Oh yeah, I am. Like I think we all are, but it's just how much you want to tap into it. I think I'm on a we're all on spiritual journeys. I think mine is like, I go have healings. I try to look at things to try and go deeper. I always, and I say this a lot of things. I do a prayer in the morning. I meditate. I've got free prayers that I say pretty consistently, and I know it pretty off by heart because that's kind of how I want to start my day. And it doesn't go right, but I can always try and bring it back. So it's always like a prayer meditation and a gratitude list that I write up, and it gets me going every day.
Gratitude's that thing as well. I think I remember you saying in a diary or something that you would write, "I am enough."
Yes. Yeah.
Would that be the most important thing to perhaps reinforce
Yes.
to someone that's second guessing or wondering,
Yeah.
wondering who they are essentially?
100%. Like I still, in my gratitude, say I am enough.
Mm.
I think that's really important because I think we get a little bit lost in the world about where are we enough, or what do we need to be enough. It's really all we need is ourselves.
What would you give from an advice perspective to when you're at your lowest compared to the mindset you have now? What would you tell him?
What's that? Sorry.
So the advice to the younger self, essentially.
Yes. Okay. What I would say is that I've had this conversation with a lot. Like I think it's easy to say. I kind of say now because we heal our younger self always, and I think what I say now is that, like, you don't need to have your hands on the wheel anymore. And this is what I got taught is like I've got the tools that I've learned now to help you, so you don't need to take the control of anything. I've got you. You're loved, you're nurtured, and I'm going to guide you, and we can guide each other. And I think that helps kind of the traumas that guy has, and that younger self of you has, that trauma, and then that kind of energetically heals that, and then it kind of just filters into your life now. So you're constantly going back and healing parts of your younger self. And I think it might sound a bit airy fairy, but it's worked for me. I mean, I do a lot of kinesiology too. I think Heidi's like a woman I see in Pasco Vale who's just incredible, and and we would block a lot of things in our body, and from certain ages or traumas that have happened. And I think if we could keep going back to maybe moments in that we didn't turn up in the right way, like, I think of myself in past relationships, like I probably didn't have like amazing role models to learn from when I was coming into professional sport, because it was a kind of like, it felt like pretty much a free for all, like,
Do you wish you had that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, because there was people that and relationships that I seen, and I was like, man, I love that. I want that. I want that. I want to be that person turning up for his partner like he is, that's really what I wanted. And I think, the kind of life that I was leading wasn't helping with that. But then the person I am now, I can go back and say to that kid, it's okay. Don't be so hard on yourself.
What was the gap between you actually doing that at that age? The gap. So like you said you wanted that. You wanted to show up the way you could.
Way off, man.
Okay.
Like, yeah, I was just way off. I wanted it, but the thing is that there's something about wanting it and then
acting.
Actions are the biggest. Actions are something that have helped me a lot. It's like and sometimes I'm not great at it, but it's like they've helped me unbelievably. We just got to take actions on things.
It's funny as well because some people I suspect they place pressure on themselves to actually change quickly, but it sounds to me as if not only has this been something that's taken time, but it's something that will probably never stop.
Oh, it doesn't stop, because when it's like golf, right? I was telling you about how much I love golf, and I just played around yesterday, and I've hit this unbelievable shot, and I'm like, oh man, I've got this. I know. And you go up to the next tee box and you hit the ball, and it's like, what happened to that one that I just did before? And then that's the healings of things. It's like it might just need a couple more rounds, and then it might rear its head back again, but then you can just quickly go, okay, no, man, like you take your hands off the wheel, bro. I've got you. It's all good.
Trust the process.
Yeah, pretty much.
Is that hard to do? Because it's funny. On Thursday last week, I posted the podcast from that session last week, and I posted it yesterday. So I had nothing. If that podcast didn't go ahead, I wouldn't have had anything for Sunday. In the past, I would have historically gone and booked like 15 podcasts because I have that external fear that I've said something but didn't actually do it.
Yeah,
if that makes sense.
Yeah, yes.
Which in a way is like, it makes me sort of feel inadequate. If I set out to do something and I don't do it, then it makes me feel bad.
Yes, yeah.
But I feel like I've grown because I didn't do that. I was just like, what will be, what will be. What will be.
Yes, yeah. No, I'm 100% like that too. Like, I feel like it is like that. I mean, you still got to take actions because things just don't fall into your lap, right? And excuse me, I'm very that steak's coming up, but it's like, yeah. I mean, I'm very big on like the universe and they'll bring things that are what you need at that time, but you still got to take some actions in that, and I think, but really, it is what it is. Like, I mean, it's hard as to think sometimes you are where you're meant to be at that time,
What do you think the career highlight for you is?
Career highlights.
Diverting it a bit.
My career highlights. It's like life highlights or career?
No,
sporting.
Soccer.
Soccer.
And life.
Yeah, life. I really I love my sobriety. I think that's something I really love, and I think I cherish because, being comfortable to go places without having to, is an amazing feeling because that's something I've always done.
I've drunk since November 22nd, 2022.
Yeah.
It's the best.
Yeah, good as it been, right?
And I found the steak late 3 months later.
See, things happen when you kind of
show up as yourself.
Yeah, and you show up as yourself and you're present, and I think that's what's happened for me through this journey. Sporting would have to be, signing my first pro contract from where I kind of was.
Was that this?
Yeah, man, Gippsland Falcons, Morwell Falcons that was, yeah. And I'm still in a group chat with the lads. They're amazing guys, yeah. Love it because, they were where it all started,
I think you posted that photo.
That was a sobriety celebration of, that was great. I think that was, like I said, a great achievement for me. From my background, it was definitely an amazing one. Definitely playing for the Socceroos, going to a World Cup, a lot of World Cup qualifications. Those celebrations are always fantastic. Melbourne victory trophies, a couple of individual ones. They're all fantastic. Like, I love them all. I mean, even going back and playing local football with my Albury Wodonga. I mean, I didn't have the competitive edges like I used to, but it's still amazing to be able to go back home and play in the club where the area where I grew up and with some good old friends of mine. So there's heaps. I mean, going to Spain, I wanted to go to Spain for so long in my career, and it just it didn't eventuate, and I'm at 40 years old, I'm going back and playing Division 5. I can't even remember what division it was. So I still played a game there. It was, and I got to share that with my son. We went to Real Madrid training grounds. Not many people are allowed even in there. So that was pretty amazing. And highlight also too, world record. I've got some pretty amazing things that sometimes I've got to think about, and kind of go, wow, that's really amazing. I'm an Olympian. I've gone to the World Cup. I've got a world record. Gone to Asia Cups, Confederation Cups. There's a lot of things that I played in Europe. I won a trophy at PSV in Holland. Although I played only 10 minutes, I don't care. I still won.
You said earlier in the conversation that you don't like going back sometimes to the early traumas.
Yeah.
But do you sometimes find yourself reflecting just on how good or how grateful you are for that career that you had?
Yeah, like I mean, I'm grateful for everything, really.
Yeah.
Like I've got to be. I think when I look back on it, it's like, oh man, if I didn't go through that, I wouldn't have been here. Or if I wasn't there, how could I get to there? Like it's just like there's all these connecting the dots, you know. So I'm really grateful for it all.
Is it emotional when you think about like all the good times?
Yeah, sometimes you can float back into it and go, wow, yeah, that was beautiful, and it's nice. Like, and it's good to get that. Like, it's just what you do with that. Like, you know, and I think I do that differently now. I don't stay there and try to relive it. You know, maybe on the golf course, but that's it.
On the topic of reliving it, let's watch this. When you click play and watch that.
Ah, mate, yes.
We'll watch that. Have you watched this recently?
Gosh. No, I haven't seen that for a bit, actually. Like, not so long ago, because I think, you kind of want to go back and... Because maybe someone else is going through that at that time, and you go, oh, yeah, that reminds me of what I felt like, you know. I think... What was sad for me more so was that, like, you know, okay, the football and missing the club, you know, it's that my kids weren't there to be able to celebrate that with me. That's all I was thinking about at that time. Like
that's where the emotion was.
And because that song that's being played was a song that was being played in my son's birth, and we almost like lost him. And that song is "Fix You." Like from Coldplay, and that was something I always played in. I don't know, it was just something I used to play before games all the time. And when that came on, my kids not being there, that's what really just amplified all the feelings and emotions. And then also too, you see and what I love too is that when I look back on it, I see the reaction of the fans and what you meant to them. You know, that's really special, like really special.
Why? So I think were you going through the divorce and everything then? Is that why the kids weren't there?
Yeah, they were overseas. Okay. Like it was hard. Yeah, and that's why it was so emotional, because they couldn't be there with me. You know?
Yeah, I thought you were just watching that. I thought you were emotional because of the whole just retiring. You know, but it was something else.
Well, yeah, that was it. Like, I mean, those were definitely there, but the real emotion about that was. My kids weren't there.
Was that the time when you were building up a resentment towards it all in the final year? Or was that?
Yeah, I think I did. I did resent, even a little bit after that, I resented football because I thought that it was the reason for all the stuff that was wrong. But the fact was that I was a part of a lot of the reasons why I was wrong.
I'm very grateful and blessed that today is my 2 years of sobriety from alcohol. For a long time, I hated what I was seeing in the mirror and the way I showed up as a brother, son, partner, friend, work colleague, life, and more importantly, in capital letters, as a father.
Yeah.
What I've learned is that we can do the best we can. That we can do the best we can with what we know or what's been shown to us. Unfortunately, my way was to mask and run for as long as I can remember. This journey has been a tough one because there is no place to run and hide, and when it comes to your past behaviours and actions. I post this photo because it represents how I feel now towards myself and others. Love and peace. I think I remember you saying in another conversation that peace is the most important thing for you. That was with Trent Cotchin.
Yeah.
He's got the same birthday as me, ironically, and I've been trying to get him on my podcast.
Oh, mate, well, hopefully he's watching.
I will continue to wake up every day and be the best version I can be. Will I get it right all the time? Most likely not, but I'll keep trying my best.
Yeah. That's true. Still true to this day.
Is it hard for you? Not hard for you to hear those words, but is it?
No, I think no, because I'm living those. Like I live it now. Like it's easy. It's kind of imprinted in me now. Like I think early on, it's like these things come out, but I think that's just my way of life. Man, and like the peace for me is just the most.
What you said before about, you know, you might not be making the most money in the world, but you're at peace.
Yes.
And I heard someone say the other day, that he was a personal trainer, and this is Alex Hormozy. Do you know Alex Hormozy? He's a really good business guy.
Yeah.
And he upgraded, or he promoted, a personal trainer to more money. And as a result of that promotion, became more responsibility. And after 6 months, his friend said to him, I don't want to be in that position anymore. He's like, I want to go back to what I was doing. Because that's what I love. I love being a personal trainer. I don't like being a manager.
Yeah.
And he was shocked. He was like, why would you want to go backwards? Why would you want less money? And he was shocked because that's not how he thinks. And then I interviewed another person the other day, and his best friend is a manager at Coles. And he is a multimillionaire real estate agent. And they're best friends.
Yeah.
And he looks at him and he goes, he's won.
Yeah.
He's won at life.
Yeah.
And the same thing with that personal trainer. He's like, he's still a personal trainer.
Yeah. Yeah.
He just loves what he does.
Yeah.
He's won. Whereas there are people out there that, probably myself included, that are no good at doing that stuff.
Yeah.
And when I say that stuff, I mean acknowledging that perhaps they're on the right path and they're doing a good thing, but they're always discontent essentially and pushing towards something else.
Yeah. Look, I still do that. Like I'm not like, I'm a human, because there is things that I still like would like to be able to be doing, or I see something that like someone's doing. I'm like, oh man, I'd love to be able to do that. I think, I just feel differently about things. And, you talk about that personal trainer. It's like, just like he's found his purpose. It's like kind of what he loves. I mean, I don't know what my purpose is just yet, but I kind of just love where I'm at now.
Is that a good thing? You're still sort of searching. You're still open. You still.
Yeah, I'm just open. I mean, I don't know what it's going to be like, but I think I'm open to whatever is out there.
How important's purpose?
Yeah, I think it's. Okay, I guess it drives you. I just think it depends on what the purpose is.
Did you feel like you had a purpose throughout your career in soccer?
Yes, because I felt like I was still, as much as my ego was kind of flying higher most of the time, whatever, there was still a purpose of giving the fans joy and enjoyment. And I think that was my purpose. So I got it right, I think, a lot of the times.
Ego high most of the time.
Yeah.
I remember you saying you were running as well and all that sort of stuff. So there's a lot going on.
Hey, mate, it's like, I think that's why you live in here, and the kind of enemy within and without, like that's kind of, it's dropped. My inner kind of monologue's not near as rampant as what it used to be.
But that's a good thing.
Great thing. Great thing. Just like, I just, I'm definitely a lot better.
I one day hope to have that peace.
Well, man, I mean, it's like I said, it comes fleetingly, or it's sometimes like I could probably go out there now and completely go haywire, but I know I've got, I can come back to it's like, it's okay.
What's your happy place now?
Oh, happy place is, just, well, anything I do. I mean, I really enjoy my work. I love seeing the crew that I'm like, I go there to like, work with.
What about when you're not around other people, just on your own?
Oh, man, I love my motorbike. That's something I really love. Like I got my L's about 1.5 years ago, and I love it. Like I love it. And just kind of being chill. Like I don't feel like I need to do things, and if I do, I'll go and do it. Like I really love that, and I think with my partner also too. It's like we're actually very similar in that we just we like our little bubble, and then we kind of just chill in that. We're very homely because like we love to go and do things, but I think what the great thing is that we can do it like that and be gone. Like there was this Japanese, I think, artist that came to Melbourne, the exhibition. She had all these amazing things. And we did that in like 30 minutes. Like we go, oh yeah, it's cool. Some people will sit there for 2 hours going marveling over things, but that's not what we do. Like we'll drive to the forest, walk through. You had enough? Yep, we're enough. Go. And like it's nice to be able to kind of have that relationship where you can just be allowed to be you and do you, that kind of thing, and vice versa.
I think that's powerful because I'm assuming back in the day, like if you were to go to a party now, you go there just to say g'day and show face.
Yeah.
Whereas that whole fitting in, I know that's a whole nother conversation in itself, but I'm assuming back in the day, I get people all the time, even now, it's like, oh, I couldn't do that. I'm like, you can, you just leave.
Yeah. And that's the thing. And that's what I do. Like, I can show up because I want to show up. I want to show up for my friends. I want to try and, like, you know, but also too, there's a kind of a good thing about protecting your peace, you know. And I think there's a good way of protecting your peace. I mean, not completely shutting out everything. Going, no, you're going to affect my peace. It's just showing up, but then going, oh, you know what? I've been here. I'm happy to go now, and I'll just go. Like that's a beautiful thing about like where I'm at, and even with my partner now is that like where we can kind of go. What's a code word? like it'd be like, just say matchstick. You know? Yeah, matchstick. And they were out. Cool.
Stephen Bartlett said in that conversation and thanked him for his willingness to be open, Thierry Henry. And you've done that in spades today, mate. It's been a cracker.
Brother. Yeah.
And I suspect for someone like you, like, you know, you've commented on the fact of the whole overthinking thing and all that sort of stuff. Going back and talking about all this stuff has been, I don't know, a challenge. I'm not sure if that's the right word.
Definitely. Because there's things that you want to say, but you just
of course. Maybe one day.
Well, definitely.
Yeah.
And you know what? I think the everyone's important. Everyone's everyone's beautiful. I try to see that, but the people that are super close to me know my story, know me, and and I'm open, and there'll be a day where I'll completely just go, yeah, this is what it is. But
what do you think it'll take to get there?
I don't know. I think I don't know. We'll see. But I mean, look, the ones that are really mean, like the super most to me, no. There's a whole story, you know?
Nonetheless, I mean, the whole pedestal, like, once again, comes back to that. It's like someone looking at you in your peak is like, he's the god. It's, you know who it was Tom Boyd, football player. When he kicked a goal in 2016, I don't know if you follow AFL, but Western Bulldogs won their first grand final in 61 years. And that was when he was at his worst. But he kicked one of the best goals of all time, and everyone got around him, and, you know, he won the premiership, and that's when he's at his absolute worst. So it's like there's the one thing where you're like perceived as this superpower, and then there's the other reality of what the situation is. It's like there's two different levels, and how people perceive you in real life compared to how you actually are. It's just a different thing, and for you to speak like you have today, it just shows that, you know, we are human. We'll go through struggles, and that's okay.
Yeah, definitely. And if we can talk about it over a beautiful steak, I'm all for it.
Perfect, man. Appreciate your time today.
Cheers, my man.